We're joined by Eric Morris, the head football coach at North Texas. Eric, thank you very much for your time. We just had G.J. Kinney, who's now at Texas State. Both of you have been head coaches at Incarnate Word. What's in the water in Incarnate Word that's leading to others having success when they're there?
I don't know. The Sisters of Charity there at Incarnate Word are looking down upon us and blessing us with many blessings.
When did coaching get in your blood?
Oh, I think probably when I was 5 years old, and my father was a longtime head basketball coach at Shallowater, Texas, is where I am right now in Shallowater. And although it feels like Pullman, Washington outside with this cold front, it's always good to be back in Shallowater. But yeah, just being around the game, I've been super competitive my whole entire life, and I was the kid in a little town of Shallowater where every day from elementary school on, I'd walk across the street and go to my dad's practices. And so grew up with the ball in my hand, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, I did it all. And I love the competitive nature of it. Love winning, love competing. And so coaching was always in my blood. I knew my dad worked too hard, too many hours, and put too much time in to make the amount of money he did. So I knew I probably wanted to go in a different direction and try to make a little money if I was going to spend that much time away from my family.
Again, Eric Morris, the new head football coach at North Texas. We really covered North Texas quite a bit. We had the Davis, the linebacker. Phil Bennett was a weekly analyst for us the year he was out of coaching for a couple of years. And a lot of others on that staff I know that were there. They get to a bowl game. There's the coaching change because they feel like there's more. What is the definition, in your opinion, of what North Texas can do that can be more?
I think they can go all the way to the top. And I think, starting with the leadership from the president on down, I think that they've really committed to football, and they've shown it by, giving North Texas the resources to compete at the highest level. And then, I think that they really took it serious and wanted to get into one of the premier conferences in the group of five. And so, you see what they're building there, new stadium, new indoor, and then, going into the American Conference right now, that it's important to them. And they're in a fertile area right there that produces some of the top high school football talent in the nation. And so it'll be, I think tough in this day and age as far as, the new landscape of college football where, you got the portal and you got the NIL. And so we're going to have to do a great job of putting together a great staff and then, keeping some of that talent right there in the DFW area. And it's not broken right now, like you said. I mean, this is a team that's been to bowl games. I think Seth Luttrell did a fantastic job of taking it, to a new level, and they're used to winning. But then, I think they're kind of sitting on a plateau right now. And if we can bust out of this thing and continue the trajectory up and go compete for championships and win some of these American championships in the near future.
So you have, again, I mentioned Incarnate Word, Washington State, at now North Texas. And this kind of turned around pretty quickly, but right up against with what's going on in college football with the transfer portal you mentioned and National Signing Day. How much of a whirlwind was that from the weekend to Wednesday when you were trying to assemble a staff, your staff, but also assemble a recruiting list of commits and signees?
Yeah, my last, 8 or 9 days, I wish upon nobody, just to be able to, getting ready to be able to coach in a bowl game with Washington State to getting on a flight down to Denton and really to engulf myself. Just, it was a bizarre week where they were playing that week. So I had an opportunity to go and meet some of the players, start building a relationship with those guys and then, deal with some of the alumni stuff every night that we were doing, watch the game. But really, I think some of my experience in the past and being a head coach in these positions is I was able to step back and just be patient with this. I think that they didn't have many commits at the time. And so to really, the first and foremost, I needed to put together a staff that was going to be able to help me. This is not a one-man job. I need a bunch to surround myself with a lot of great men and great coaches. And so that was goal number one. I knew we were late. I knew we weren't going to win signing day. We didn't have any time to form relationships, get kids on visits, do the things you need to do. So patient in that regard. And then, right now I'm working through trying to hire a great staff, which I think will be, one of the top staffs in all of the group of five. And so, excited about where we're headed right there with staff. And then now with the second signing day with the portal, we'll kind of be able to reconvene and really get our thoughts together and know how to attack this, the right way.
What is the right way?
Yeah, I think that you got to build relationships, and two, once I put our coaches together, I mean, I don't even know enough about this roster yet to really know what we need next year. And so I think, to be able to take a step back and really figure out kind of the pieces we have, and then to figure out what we need and then go attack those needs for this roster that fit into our schemes next year. And so I thought it was important to get an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, and a special teams coordinator, and then to really be able to look at our roster and kind of find out what those positions of need are and go get those. And, and I always think it works both ways. We need kids that we have relationships with and want to be here for the right reasons, and then vice versa. And so I respected those kids and said, hey, if you need to go take other visits or take another opportunity, like I'm okay with that. You don't know who's going to be coaching you. And so I always believe in doing right by the kids, and I want them to be in a great situation. I don't want kids that come here, don't know us, or come into the wrong scheme and they want to transfer the next year. And so, I told all of them, hey, we'll still recruit you. But if you need to open it back up, then that's what you need to do right now. So
I consider Phil Bennett a great friend, not just of our show, but a great friend from his time when I knew him well before he took over as a defense coordinator at Baylor. Back in the day, his brothers coached in high school football as well. He's from East Texas. When coaches have transition, is there ever someone can you reach out to him and pick his brain? Because I know he loves to share information. Is that something that's normal when you have a coaching transition from who was there before?
Yeah, it always depends, and it all depends on what kind of person. I know what kind of person Phil Bennett is, and he's a first-class individual. He's a first-class coach, and so Phil's been amazing. I think Phil was the right man for the job there at the end, to be the interim and kind of be the bridge in the gap there. And he kept those kids together. He kept them practicing hard, and I thought they went out there and played extremely hard against a great Boise team. And so I can't say enough good things about Phil Bennett. I've known Phil for a long time. I competed against him when I was at Texas Tech. He was at Baylor. Does a fantastic job. And two, Phil took the time, to spend a lot of time with me and really go through a bunch of things that were going on there, and some of the things that he thought were really positive, and some of the things he thought, that need to be fixed. And so, yeah, I could sit here and talk about it all day, how good of a human being Phil is and how good of a coach he is. And so I think Phil's at a point in his life where he wants to go and spend a lot of time with his family and with his wife right now, which rightfully so. And, but he was awesome to me and also to those kids during that tough time.
Eric, what was it like during this time, you getting this opportunity, which is a great opportunity for you at North Texas, and yet you're also dealing with the emotions of Mike Leach passing away, which really rocked this entire country in a lot of ways, and the stories that a lot of people had about Mike Leach that people maybe didn't know unless they knew him or didn't know him, and they had great stories. What was that like, dealing with that?
Well, the cool thing about it was I was sitting in Mike's chair when I got this call. And so, Mike's given me every opportunity I've had in football. He's the one that gave me a scholarship, believes in me coming out of, small town kid, undersized kid here at Shallowater, Texas. So forever grateful for that. And then Mike gave me my first full-time job at Washington State. And so I'm sitting in Mike's chair and it was, I believe, Monday afternoon. We're watching film when I found out of his passing. And so that kind of struck me hard that I was actually sitting in his seat. And then the very next morning, I got the phone call from our athletic director that I was going to be the new head coach at North Texas. So both of those things were super surreal for me. Just the man that gave me everything I had in this profession. And I think he was definitely looking down upon me. And, the one thing I hate is I always enjoyed, my phone conversations with Coach Leach and so much wisdom that he would pour into me. And, I know how proud he would have been of me. And that's the one conversation that I was missing. And then for North Texas to be able my press conference is supposed to be on Tuesday. They set up his memorial service. It was something important for me to go to that memorial service and for them to allow me to do that was something that was super special for me to see my old players, my old or former players, former coaches, all those things were something that meant a lot to me. And so, he was my greatest mentor, someone that really I would like myself to have the same impact and legacy that he left in college football someday. And so just super proud that I could call him not only, my mentor, but my friend. And it was definitely an emotional week on a bunch of different levels.
Well, you said you were sitting in his seat. Was that the seat he had at Washington State?
Yeah. So his office kind of opened up into the staff room. And so I'd always sit at the front of the staff room. That was our offensive staff meeting where we would watch tape. And so, that was his chair forever when we got to Washington State. And so, yes, sir, that was the one.
Eric, you've mentioned a couple of times here about your staff and putting it together. What's it been like to watch a guy like Sean Brophy develop from your quarterback at Incarnate Word to now somebody you rely on, and just to watch his path open up in coaching as well?
Yeah, I always believe in surrounding myself with smart people. And, I think that's one thing that a characteristic I got from Coach Leach is learning how to hire the right people and surround yourself with great men that not only that aren't just yes men that are going to be there and bring something to your program. So always thought Sean was super bright as a player. And then, he actually, had his master's degree and had a great, 6-figure job to go out and be there in Arizona working for his family's company. And he called me about 4 months into it, and he's like, "Coach, my heart's in coaching." And I said, "Well, Sean, I don't have a job for you right now." And he said, "I don't care. I'll come work for free." And so he came to Incarnate Word, started working for free. That next year we were able to get him on the staff. A guy that is super disciplined, loves film, loves to develop relationships, really knows the quarterback position really well. And so then, I had an opportunity to take him up to Washington State, and it's been fun to continue to watch him grow. And so one thing Mike Leach did, he took chances on people. I don't think he always just made the sexy hires. He hired people he believed in that were going to be loyal to him and people that love coaching ball. And so to watch his progression and know, there was not a question in my mind that he was, he was ready for this opportunity. He was committed to it. I saw him, come and work for free because that's how much he wanted to get in coaching and loved being around the game. So yeah, Sean was a no-brainer hire for me.
Eric, you would have found a way to play college football somewhere, but how much did the air raid or what they now do with slot receivers, how much of a door did that open up for you and others that perhaps were overlooked because of your size?
Yeah, I think I think it started with Wes Welker, and he kind of made this a position that was wasn't there before. The slot receiver, and you see these guys come in and that are 5'8", 175 pounds, and all of a sudden they're catching 100 balls a year for 1,000 yards a year. And so my dad was a basketball coach. I thought I was always going to play basketball. It was a thing, I was watching this guy, Wes Welker, and dominate right down the road in Lubbock, Texas. And so it was like, I think I could do this. And so, started going to camps there late, knew that at my size, basketball probably wasn't going to be the key. You turn on TV, college basketball, there's not many 5'8", 5'8" guys out there running the point guard anymore. And so I started, my last year, I really went to all these camps and performed really well and ran some good times. But too, it was super attractive to me that how they were using him as a punt returner in a slot, and they were catching all these balls. And so I think the evolution of the air raid kind of was something that was happening before our eyes, and these smaller slot receivers were really becoming a thing. And I thought I kind of fit into the mold of that. And luckily so did Mike Leach and Dana Holgerson and Sonny Dykes, and they gave me a scholarship, and the rest was kind of history.
Eric, we had the opportunity to speak with G.J. Kinney a while ago, and he said something that stood out to me about how right now in college football, it's kind of a young man's game, especially on the recruiting trail. And I think you can even see that kind of trickle up into the NFL with some of the younger coaches you're seeing develop. Do you think that statement holds true when you look at yourself and your situation and kind of the landscape of the game as it is right now?
Yeah, I think so. But, I don't think you can ever overlook, having great experience at the same time. But I think that young guys are getting, these opportunities and proving, that they can do it at a high level and recruit at a high level and coach at a high level. And so, yeah, I think so. But at the same time, I always think that there's a place for wisdom and there's a place for experience. And so, that's one thing that I do want to surround myself with not only great coaches, but great coaches that have great ties into the state of Texas. I think this is a state to where, some of my greatest friends and greatest coaches I know are Texas high school football coaches. And so to embrace yourself in that and to always have the mindset that you're always learning. And there's a bunch of things that I don't know that I want to continue to grow as a leader, as a coach, as a head coach. And I'm definitely not too proud to think that, I can't learn something from a high school coach. So we have one scheme right now that we're doing that's kind of taking storm in college football, is a little screen pass, a GT screen pass. And I tell people we kind of started running it in Incarnate Word, got really good at it. Everybody's running it now. And everybody's like, well, where'd you find that? And I'm like, well, we were watching recruiting tape one day, and Canadian High School was killing a team with it. And I said, I called Canadian High School and said, hey, teach me a little bit about the screen you're running. And so yeah, I think there's definitely some truth to that. There's a bunch of youth out there right now that are doing great in the coaching ranks, but at the same time, I think you still need to grow and evolve and learn from smart people.
Eric, I know you're trying to spend some time with family, and we appreciate you doing that. Taylor Bryan, somebody that I got to know really well when he was at Baylor. He does an incredible job with media relations. Obviously, Jared Mosley, we had him on when he was introduced as the AD. He was down in Waco running the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. We wish you the best of luck. Enjoy whatever you can the holidays, and also building your staff and also putting together talent for your program. Hope to talk to you again down the road, but have a great Christmas. Merry Christmas, sir.
David, I've always appreciated your work and watched it from afar. Thank you for everything you do for football in the great state of Texas.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Eric Morris, some of you on the chat room, a couple of you on the chat room, and I was going to